Now I'm very excited. Welcome back to the best proxy in all of Las Vegas from footballcontest.com. Mr. Vegas Maddie. You can follow Maddie on Twitter at Vegas_Maddie. Hey, it's getting close to numbers here. How the heck are you feeling?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Here there's some football contests getting in order here. Obviously, Derek Stevens made a big announcement last week. There's money to be made and fun to be had. What's going on in the football contest this offseason?
Yeah, Derek Stevens had the big announcement last week. Those guarantees are up to $16 million, I believe now. So $10 million for a Circus Survivor, up from 8 a year ago. And then they're still trying to break through with the million to get to that $6 million mark. I had trouble the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can get, I think last year was 5.3 million, something like that. So they got to work hard to get those guys in there to do the pick five contest, but I don't think they're going to have any trouble hitting the 10 million in the Survivor.
Oh, I know the Survivor shot up last year. They did a fantastic job. What are the guarantees for the millions then? Is it has that been upped or is that the same?
Now it's the same. Like I said, yeah, it's been 6 million the last couple of years, so they're just set on it, trying to get it up to that number, so there's no overlay. So anybody who participated the last couple of years got that overlay. But yeah, it's the million is the bigger concern for Derek to try and avoid coming out of pocket. And there's still a max of 5 entries per person for that, 10 for the Survivor. So the million is really where they need to try to get those numbers up.
Oh, definitely. And for any new listeners that we have, could you let them know what you guys do over at footballcontest.com?
Yeah, so really, footballcontest.com is an informational website. We've got information on all of the biggest football contests in Las Vegas, including the Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and the Super Contest. Once you find out the information and you want to schedule a trip out to Vegas, that's the next step. And you want to find a reliable proxy. And my partner Tony and I, we've been doing this we've been the leading proxy for the last 15 years in Las Vegas. We're going to year number 16. And yeah, I mean, you want to reach out to us and schedule an appointment to get signed up, because we do need to be there when you sign up. You do also need to be in person to sign up for the contest. And that's another thing. A lot of people try to reach out to us and say, hey, can you sign up for the contest for us? And that's not in the cards. You need to be able to physically sign up at one of the Circa sports books in the state of Nevada, whether it's the Tuscany, the downtown properties, Circa Resort and Casino, the D, and they just opened up a one at the Silverton Casino in Las Vegas as well. And then you got the property up in Sparks. So you've got a variety of different options to sign up. But once you sign up, you need to be able to have somebody put the picks in for you if you are out of state and not able to do it yourself.
Absolutely. And this is where you guys come in. Well, it's not the worst thing to go to Vegas because Derek Stevens has a pretty good show over at the Circa. And obviously, you have some other contests as well at the Westgate. And there's also a few other small contests you guys do as well. So, can you talk a little bit about what's available to people coming out there from a football contest perspective?
Yeah, we're still waiting to see kind of what the college landscape is going to be like this year. William Hill had done a college football contest in the past. They did not have it last year. Still not sure if they're going to bring that back this year. The Golden Nugget has a combo contest that covers college football and the NFL, and that's a 7-pick-a-week contest. I believe they're going to start their signups up around 4th of July. So anybody coming into town that wants to get in on that one, that's when signups will begin for that one. The Super Contest is kind of the granddaddy of them all, as I say. Was really the first big pick five contest. They had a huge prize pool. They awarded $1 million winners way back in the day, pre-COVID, when they were able to get their entry numbers up over 3,000. Now, since Circa Millions kind of jumped in the scene, their numbers have gone down just because a lot of people pick one or the other. I like to say, might as well do both because they both have their advantages. The Super Contest has 11 in-season contests, so they pay you out after every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 9 weeks, which is pretty awesome. And then, the Circa Million has the big quarterly prizes that are worth $300,000 every quarter, including the $25,000 booby prize for finishing last every quarter. They do also award the $100,000 booby prize at the end of the season for the entrant with the lowest amount of wins.
Yeah, the booby prize is kind of interesting. You start off terrible, you can always go for that now. Maybe you think you're out of it by week 3 anyway. You just do the booby prize for the first 4 weeks, and then you wait the next 4 weeks. You can still try to get that second quad, correct?
Yep. A lot of people after the first week, they kind of see how their entries are going. If they get off to a rough start, maybe 1-4, 0-5, you've got something to play for right off the bat, regardless. So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, why don't you tell us about any changes that's happening with the circuit this year for the Millions and the Survivor?
What was that?
The changes for the Millions and Survivor. There's a couple small ones, maybe Christmas week. What's going on with any changes?
Yeah, I mean, really, the big difference this year is just that Christmas falls on a Wednesday, and you don't typically get a Wednesday football game. But with the Circa Million, that those Christmas games are going to fall as part of that week. So instead of kicking off the week on Thursday, it'll kick off the week on Wednesday. Lines will be available on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and so that'll be a key difference there. And then with the Survivor, the contest weeks that are added on, you have the 18 weeks plus you've got Thanksgiving and Good Friday as a separate week. So you got to save teams that are playing one of those games. And then also you need to save teams that are going to play either on Christmas Day or the 26th, which is the Thursday. So you got to pick one of those teams as well. So it's kind of gets a little dicey. A lot of people like to map out all their whole season and see what happens. You want to hold one of those good teams for each of those bonus weeks. But also you want to get to that point too. So you don't want to have to be just worry about saving too much. You want to have at least some quality teams, but then again, you have some teams that end up being worse than they are. You think they're going to be going in the season. So we'll just kind of see what happens. But those are kind of just the different schedule is just be with Christmas falling on a Wednesday this year.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting, man. It's like you're worried that you're going to not be able to use a team, but they might use the quarterback or something, right? And then all of a sudden later in the season, you're like, geez, they just lost the quarterback. Now I wish I did save them. Something ungodly happened from the homes or something throughout the year. That's the Friday, actually, which is interesting, of Thanksgiving week. This year for Christmas, I believe there's only 2 games instead of 3. So they had to wrap the Thursday game in, which
Correct, yeah.
was a good idea by
Yeah, and then the Good Friday game too. That's another added game that didn't have in years. We had it last year. I think that was the first year they had it, but that's also tied into Thanksgiving. So you've got Thanksgiving games and the Good Friday game as part of a week as well. So it's crazy. I mean, just to get to that point, if you're alive around Thanksgiving time, that's normally where you've got maybe it's barely double digits with the number of entries left at that point. Maybe 10, like you might have 20 people alive at that point. And then Christmas, you're lucky to have, 8 or 9 entries left at that point, because there's only another week or 2 left in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But again, it's all about mapping it out. I know they sell that in the gift shop over at Circa. You can get get the whole grid and map out your whole season right there.
Yeah, 100%. You get it all set up for you, and sometimes there's situations where there's more money that's guaranteed by Derek Stevens than actually comes in. Why don't you tell people about what happens with overlays and how often they've been happening recently?
Well, the overlay with the Survivor, there hasn't really been one. I don't think. I'm trying to think if there ever was one, just because the Survivor is such a popular contest, and they do allow each person to sign up 10 entries. It hasn't been an issue. The Million's another story, just because there's only so many ways you can dice up 5 different picks in an entry. So to have 5 entries submitted for that, what I found last year is less people did five maxed out the million entries, they would max out the survivors. That's a far more common thing than maxing out the millions. So if somebody might want to do 1 or 2 million entries, and then they do, 8 to 10 survivor entries. So that's why they don't have any trouble getting to that number in the survivor. I mean, there's groups that come in and do upwards close to 100 entries. They maybe have a group of 10 people, and they each do 10, and then they have a whole like huge amount of them. So that's why it's never really an issue. But the million, it's just it's kind of an ongoing problem. That's why, like Derek, it's stuck with the $6 million guarantee. Hopefully he gets there this year. We'll see what we can do about helping him out and promote the contest a little bit more. But again, there's only so many ways you can dice 5 picks. I mean, you're going to do 5 picks 5 times with the same picks, or do you mix them up? Do you go opposites on some? I mean, that's kind of a strategy as well, especially like once you get going, you kind of see where your entries are going. Some people might start fading their own picks and hoping that they're going to have a shot at something, whether it's the booby prize or the Circa Million.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be nice to have a shot at something. I mean, that's just kind of the difference here. It's like with Survivor, you could have 3 entries left by Christmas, and you can pick one on one game and one on the other side of the game, and still kind of guarantee you get past that week into the last week of the season, right? There's also discussions that happen where you can kind of chop it up. There could have been a chop last year. One guy decided not to, but it would have guaranteed, I think, people like 1, 2 million piece. I think I can't remember the number, but you can remind me that divided by a bunch of people. There was a situation where you're going to win a lot more money too with Survivor because there's so much more money in it. Obviously, with the million, it gets split up quarterly and things like that. But there's obviously guarantees and everything that Derek puts up. But there's just a much bigger pot when it comes to Survivor as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, the Circa Million does pay out at the top 100 spots. So, the odds of winning something in there might appear to be, it is better because there's more spots in there. But, it's really like that top 10 that's going to get the 6 figures in there. And if they do go over the 6 million, the excess money will go back into the quarters, which is nice. And those quarters will be worth more than the $300,000. They'll be, who knows what happens. It hasn't happened yet in the last couple of years. Anyways, I think initially, like the first year or two, they were able to hit the number, but it was much lower than the 6 million. The 6 million, that's 6,000 entries you have to get to avoid the overlay. So that's why it's such a big deal, and why they're really going to be pushing to get people signed up for that contest this year.
Oh, 100%, man. I think that the overlay would be great if you're going there because you're at a positive EV situation, more money being paid out and put in. So that's what everybody likes, especially in sports. That's what we like about it. But having the top 100, top 50, but having the top 100 is nice that they add that. So it just gives you that much better chance. Get a couple grand, put a grand into it. You still have a shot at a couple grand. You're going to have to probably do 63 to 65% to get the top 100, close to 70% correct. Picking all these NFL games, you're looking at, what's the average? How many games a week? Maybe 15. Just depends on how many bye weeks are going on. And I think there's a total of about 90 picks throughout the year. Does that sound right?
Sounds about right to me.
Well, 17 weeks now too.
But we'll kind of see what happens this year. But like I said, the Super Contest is another good option for people, especially if you get hot for shorter periods of time. That we've had guys who catch fire for 3 weeks. We had the winner of the last 3-week contest last year, and many of those smaller contests last year. 2 years ago, we had a guy who actually won like 6 figures just winning a couple of the smaller contests within the Super Contest. So you can almost win as much money in the smaller contests if you catch fire for like a shorter period of time, like half the season, versus the whole season. So that's another thing that's interesting about that one. So, but there's a lot of good contests here in Vegas. The only way to find out more about them really is to just do your research. Go to footballcontest.com. We do have a promo for our proxy service the next couple days that expires actually on Friday night at midnight. Is save 10%. We did something for the NFL schedule release, And so if you use promo code SKED, SKED, at checkout, you're going to save 10% off all your proxy fees. So this is the last big discount we're going to have before signups really kick into gear in June. So take advantage of that, and you can go to proxy.footballcontest.com to check that out.
All right. Make sure you use the promo code SKED. So what other contests are in Vegas that you could proxy for? And obviously get people from around the country to join. And I'm guessing you do some volume discounts as well.
Well, there's a lot of smaller contests for like some of the smaller casinos, like station casinos. We don't really do anything with those. But yeah, like I said, the Golden Nugget contest is out there. I believe they're starting those signups in early July. And then we're still waiting on William Hill and Teasers to see what they're going to do if they jump back in the college football game, because there's a lot of people who want a college football contest. I've heard that from so many people every year, and I think there's definitely a market for it. It just depends on who's willing to put it together, because the one thing that I think a lot of the contestants don't understand is just that there's a lot of work that goes into the contest, setting the lines every week. And when you think about NFL versus college football, there's a ton more games for college football. So to have to come out with lines by Thursday, and then there's games almost every day of the week. Once you get to mid-season, you're playing games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. William Hill a couple years ago only had only had Saturday games on the schedule. They picked 30 Saturday games that you had to make 7 picks from. Some people complained about that because it just wasn't enough of a variety. So it's a big challenge to do a college football contest. So we'll see if somebody steps up between now and say July. But we'll get the information up there as soon as we have it, and get on our email list, and we'll make sure to let you know as soon as we know something.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be great. And you guys come here first. I love the college football contest. I didn't win it, but I had a good time doing it because it's just an extra train of thought. There's like 30, 40 games that you're really choosing from. So that'd be cool if they step up to the plate. I think once these contests keep going, there's going to be more options. And obviously having you there to be able to put this in is absolutely amazing. And what time are the entries due for these contests with your system?
Yeah, so for our proxy servers, we have 2 different deadlines. We offer a Friday and a Saturday deadline. If you do want to play the Thursday game, there's separate deadlines that are involved for that. But we have a 1 p.m., a hard 1 p.m. Pacific time deadline for Friday. It's kind of like an economy proxy service for people who kind of already know their picks, and they're just willing to put them in. Sometimes they know their picks as soon as the lines come out. We get like a number of people who just put their picks in, and they don't even care. They've been studying those games as soon as the opening lines, the casinos come out Sunday night. And once they get the contest numbers, they're ready to submit their picks. So, we do offer that. And then we do have a 1 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday, which is the latest deadline of any service out there. And so we try to give you as much time as possible to get your picks in. And and then we have a few hours to put them in, and then we'll confirm everything and let you know that you can sleep easy on Saturday, and then hopefully have a good day on Sunday.
Absolutely, man. That's exactly what you want to be doing. Sleeping in, because if you screw up and do not put your picks in, Maddie and Tony will also just make sure that you put your picks in, and that way you kind of have that.
Yeah, we'll put random picks in for you if we have to. Yeah.
They can't make a pick, and sometimes you guys will make a pick, and sometimes it turns out right and doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, some people just forget to. We do everything we can to chase people down, let them know that we don't have their picks. But I mean, there's occasions where we aren't able to get in touch with someone, and we'll make sure to put something in for you. Sometimes it'll go 5-0, and we've actually helped people win money on the smaller contests. It was a couple years ago, I think, the Super Contest. I think I'd mentioned there's a 3-week contest and a 6-week contest, and we ended up doing really well. We hadn't heard from a client for a few weeks, and we ended up doing really well and helped to win about $30,000. So, but it happens. But we're here for you regardless.
Well, why don't you remind everyone where they can get your great information in that promo code to get into these huge contests for 2024?
Yeah, footballcontest.com is the top online destination for Las Vegas football contest information. Go there. There's a number of links on the homepage you can check out. Get the information for the Circa contest, which are out now. The Super contest is going to be launching on July 1st. So we will have all that information updated in about a month from now. And then, if you want to sign up for the proxy service, you can save 10% through Friday night. You just use promo code SKED at checkout, and that'll save you 10% off all your proxy fees. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us, proxy@footballcontestproxy.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can and let you know any answers to any of your questions you might have. So the hardest thing with picking a proxy is finding somebody reliable and trustworthy and who's responsive. And we've been the top of the game for like the last 15 years. So we're definitely here for you, and we hope you'll pick us this year.
That's right. And make sure you guys get in these contests. You can actually get into Manny and Tony early before you go sign up for the contest. That's what he means. Get in that promo code SKED because you're going to be in Vegas before the start of the football season. Maddie, thanks so much again for coming on. We'll be talking.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.